Hello, welcome to More Yoga with me, Emily. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you're well and ready for a little bit of glutes tune-up. I call this class all about the base. So what we're going to be doing today is mobilizing through the gluteal region, our butts, essentially. We're going to be strengthening through there, and then we will lengthen. And that's going to take a full half an hour. Now, things that you'll need today. If you have a ball, tennis ball, a mobility ball, lacrosse ball, something like that, it could be really good. If you don't have a ball, then a broom handle, if you unscrew the broom off the end, or mop works really well as well, or a dowel. And also something that you can stand on. Now, if you don't have blocks, that's fine. You could get a couple books or phone book. I don't even have one of those anymore. And if you don't have something to stand on, it's totally okay. Even a folded up towel will bring a little bit of instability into it, and that's kind of what we're looking for. So I'm going to use my 2 blocks and my ball today. All right, so mobilizing through the glutes. It can be interesting, right? I want you to be really gentle with yourself with this self-myofascial release, because as soon as you get to the point where there's pain, then that's not worth doing. Your body is trying to protect itself rather than easing into the stretch, right? And there's a lot of research these days that like super deep tissue release can generate more trauma than it can actually resolve. So go easy on yourself and know, right, this is a lot harder than someone's fingers, right, as they're massaging you. So there's my little safety statement. So we'll go ahead and grab your ball or your dowel. If you're using a dowel, then set it on an angle rather than perpendicular to the top edge, or sorry, parallel to the top edge of your mat. If you're using a ball, it doesn't matter so much. And then go ahead and bring it under whatever butt cheek you want to start with. Right, left, doesn't really matter. The only place you don't really want to go is obviously right into the middle, because that can get a little bit awkward. And depending on how much weight you're putting onto it, right on the sit bone can be a bit of a tricky place to go. I like to go just outside of the sit bone. And then, maybe that feels like something rolling back and forth. If you want to add more, then cross the ankle of the same side of the glute that you're working on up over top, and then take some weight into your hands, because this can be tight. So already by crossing the ankle here, what you're doing is we're taking the hip into, for some of the muscles, an elongated position already. So that's why it can be really super tight. For some of them, this is a shortened position. But then you just roll around. If you're on a dowel, you might roll back and forth. If you're on a ball, like I am, you can kind of get in side to side and back and forth. I keep feeling like I'm losing my ball. And you can go over the sit bone, but again, be really careful, right? You will find points of tension and interesting spots, but if you feel pain, anything sharp, shooting, hot, or electrical, back out of it. You don't want to go there. So we'll just keep mobilizing for a little bit longer. And what this does is it helps break up bundles in the fascia, right? Sticky sticky spots in the muscles that can prevent the muscles from gliding and contracting in the most functional or efficient. That's the word I was looking for, the most efficient manner. So the last couple of breaths here. And then when you're done, you're done. You can just sit down, take the ball or dowel out from underneath of you, and just for a couple breaths, just sit. And then notice whatever you might notice from one side to the other. It might be a huge difference. There might be no difference at all, and that's cool. Just notice. All right, when you're ready, let's switch sides. So for me, I'm going to be moving to the left side. Again, it doesn't matter. Maybe test it out first without lifting the hip up. And you think, this side's tighter or this side's looser. Maybe I need to add more or take more off. I find also I get a little bit more range of movement here. With my ankle cross, I can get into spots that I can't get into as easily, but then it takes more effort holding your weight on your hands. I'm talking a lot. That's one of the ways that I get through these sort of moments of intensity. And hopefully, my voice isn't too annoying for you as you're dealing with your own moments of intensity as we roll on our glutes. Now, you might be tight in a totally different section of your butt on this side than you were on the first side. And that's really normal. Right? We all have different muscular imbalances and tightnesses, particularly if you have any chronic injuries from one side to the other. It can generate really crazy tightnesses and imbalances. So a few more breaths here. You might even just pause on a spot that is interesting, or just keep rolling. Last couple breaths. All right. And again, if you're done, you're done. If you want to do longer, you can pause the video and get rid of your ball or your dowel, and then just sit again for a couple of moments. Notice whatever you might notice from one side to the other. And then flicker your eyelids open. All right, make your way to hands and knees. Take your time getting set up. But eventually, set up with knees underneath hips. Toes could be tucked or untucked. And then hands outer shoulder width, apart or wider. And let's move through cat and cow. Inhale, lift the tailbone, hollow through the lower back, broaden through the collarbones. Exhale, round through your spine. Take your tailbone under. Press the floor away from you. Inhale to dip the belly into cow. Exhale, round the spine into cat. So a few more of these undulations on your own time, on your own breath. And as always, if there's any other natural movement that would feel good here, feel free to add on. A little wiggle of the hips from side to side, or barrel rolls through your chest. Last couple breaths here. All right. And slowly come back to center. Shake out your hands. Give your wrists a little bit of a break because we're going to come back to hands and knees. And we're going to be doing a little bit of single knee balancing work. So if you'd like to bring a bit more padding underneath your left knee, then go ahead and do that. Sometimes it might feel like it kind of shifts your body out of alignment. So whatever is the lesser of two evils. And then pick up the right leg and just lift it up as much as you can before the hips have to lift. Right? So these are like, if you're on your side, they'd be like clamshells. We call them a dog with a fire hydrant. All right, so the whole body stays stable as we lift. And it's quite a small range of motion here. And then go ahead and let the movement get bigger, allowing the hips to move with that other leg here. So you might draw big circles or figure eights. And then come back to center. All right, I'm gonna ditch that block for this. Lift that right leg up again. Keep the knee bent, keep the ankle flexed. So imagine that you're pressing the sole of the foot into the sky. As you inhale, lift the leg a little bit more. And exhale, round through your spine. Bring your nose towards your knee. And then inhale, lift. And exhale, round. So a mix of a glute exercise with a bit of cat and cow. It's kind of like balancing tiger. Couple more of these. You might feel the glutes on your stabilizing leg getting a little bit fired up here. All right, come back to center. Little wiggle or shake. Give your wrists a bit of a break. And then we'll switch to the opposite side. So doing all of that on the left leg. Now again, start with these very small lifts. You'll know as soon as you hit sort of femur on hip socket, you can't lift your leg anymore without compensating or moving through the pelvis. So really small movements here, firing up especially glute med. I think I can, all of a sudden now, I think I might have told you the wrong muscle group. Okay, and then start to bring in the bigger movement, allowing the pelvis and the spine to move with the leg. And then come back to center. Again, I'm going to remove that block. And then bend the left knee, left ankle as well. Inhale, lift, press the sole of the foot up into the sky. Exhale, round. Inhale to lift and exhale, round. So a few more of these. Last two here. Okay, come back to hands and knees, little wiggle or shake. Let's take some pressure off of our hands, step forward into your standing forward fold. Now this, particularly with the knees bent, is going to feel like a nice release for your glutes. You could sway a little bit from side to side. If you'd like more support, you could rest your elbows on your knees or thighs, or bring blocks underneath your hands. You could be totally still, or you might sway. And then nod your head, yes. Shake your head, no. Let your head hang heavy, neck long. Last couple breaths here. And then bring your fingertips to your shins or blocks or the earth. Inhale, little partway lift, belly bend to spine. Exhale, let it all go. Couple more. And then bend your knees, keeping your head heavy, your chin tucked into your chest the whole time. Slowly start to roll up to standing. One vertebra at a time, as slow as you need to go. Till eventually you come all the way up. Couple loops of your shoulders up, back, and down. Little wiggle, noodle, shake out, or release. All right. Woo, standing. Bring your hands to your hips, knees bent. Let's just take some gentle hip circles from one direction, and then the other. Right? They don't have to be huge. It's just a way to get into the body. Shake out the arms, shake out the legs. All right, grab whatever you're going to use to stand on. So I'm going to use my two blocks. If your foot fits on one block lengthwise, then that's cool. You can do that. I'm going to set mine up one in front of the other just to give myself a little bit more space here. And again, if you don't have something to stand on, it's okay. It's all good. Whew, cops going by. All right. So bring your right foot to your blocks or stand on your right leg. Little buoyancy on that supporting knee. And I just want you to do a couple taps up and down with that left leg so that you find your balance. Now bend that right knee a little bit, because if this knee isn't bent, I guarantee you're not going to have as much fun tomorrow with your glutes. And then maybe you just start by picking up the knee and bringing the leg down. Maybe you touch down in between. Maybe you keep the foot hovering. And we don't have to do a lot of these. Some of you have done this with me before. To start to feel like you're working. About 6 to 8 or so And then we switch sides. So if you're ready, let's switch sides, right? You might not feel much with these. We're just, easing into it, warming it up. Again, buoyancy on that supporting knee. If the knee isn't bent, your glutes aren't working as hard as they could. And gentle lifts. Maybe you tap down in between. Maybe you keep the foot hovering. Now, everything that we do here is a core pose, right? So a little bit of a lift of belly button to spine, right? Shoulder blades on the back. Nice tall posture. Okay, and then let's switch it up. Come back to the right foot. Again, a little buoyancy on that supporting knee. This time we're going to pick the knee up and then extend the leg forward and then bring it back and forward. So that's all it is. Kicking the foot forward and bringing the knee high. Now, our body is quite used to compensating for the weight of a leg being in front of us, right? Like walking. So again, this might not feel like too much on the supporting leg. You might be getting a little bit of sneaky quad work on that lifted leg. And then we'll switch sides. But it all adds up, right? A little buoyancy on that supporting knee. And the more used to it you are of doing these sorts of glute firing up exercises, the faster you will feel this working, right? For me, they're already burning. But I've been working on my glutes lately. Can you tell? just joking. Wow. Also, I'm saying this to an empty room in my house, which is super hot. Okay, shake it out. We'll switch sides. Come back to that right foot. Right, laughing is a good way to engage the core. A little buoyancy on the supporting knee. This time, we're going to take the knee up and then leg out to the side. Okay, so this is starting to get a little bit weird, right? Our body is less used to supporting the weight of the leg out to the side. Maybe stick with the knee. Maybe you extend the leg, doing kind of a développé thing, but keep the micro bend on that supporting knee. Maybe once more. And then switch sides. Left foot up, or again, just switching to the left leg. Right knee high. And then maybe just do a couple with just the knee in that external rotation, the transverse abduction and adduction. Maybe you add the leg or the extension at the knee. Maybe you try it and you're like, no, not this side. That's okay. All right, it's a bit wobblier. Keeping that micro bend on the supporting knee, though, is really going to help fire up those stabilizers. All right, switch sides. Last round. So we've done front, we've done side. What do we have to do? Back. Yay! I'm going to pretend that I heard you. So option one is to bring the knee high and then just reach the leg back. Again, you can always tap your toes to the floor, right? And you might even just start with that, just warming up the movement. Or, I'm going to turn sideways so I don't kick over my bookshelf, start to bend the supporting knee a lot as you reach the leg back. Opposite arm reaches forward for more balance. As we do these often enough, not on blocks, right? This sort of strider motion, but making yourself, a few inches taller makes it harder. Lifting, right, your center of gravity away from the floor. Okay, last one. And then switch sides. Shake it out very last time. Picking up the right leg and extend the leg back. Again, maybe this feels like enough for you on this side. Maybe you start to go into the deeper bend and the further reach back of that lifted leg. Right leg goes back as the right leg or the right arm comes forward. It's hot today. I'm sweating. I'm breathing hard. Last one. All right, step down. Whoo, shake out your legs. Sometimes you kind of just need to pound into the glutes to release them. And then move your props off to the side. Let's do a couple hip circles, one direction, and then the other. All right. Take your feet mat width apart or so. Are we going to do a squat? No, I thought we would. Let's ixnay the odds squat. Let's come back to feet hip width apart and just come into a forward fold, but knees nice and bent, right? So again, with your knees bent, you can really release into the glutes a little bit more than into the hamstrings, although you're definitely still getting hamstrings, just up more at the sit bones, which is cool because your hamstrings were working there as well, just less so. Last couple of breaths here. Y'all thought I was going to make you do a squat after all that? I'm sorry. All right, bend your knees enough that you can bring your palms to the floor. Come down to hands and knees. Little wiggle or shake. And then take your knees wide, toes together behind you. Let's move into a child's pose. Any variation that will feel good for you. I like knees wide, toes together, because I find it releases through my hips a little bit more. But go wherever you need to go. And then slowly press yourself back up to hands and knees. Shift your hips on one side so you can swing your legs forward and shake them out a little bit, little windshield wiper. Okay, so we did mobilization, we did strengthening. Now we can do a little bit of lengthening. So I'm going to give you the option. If you really like working pigeon pose or pigeon prep, then you're welcome to bring your right leg forward. Sweep that left leg all the way back behind you, or join me in a 1990 sort of variation instead. Right shin in front, left shin out to the side. From here, get curious. It might feel really good to fold over top of that shin. I'm betting though that you're going to get more sensation through the glutes if you turn and fold over top of that front thigh though. But go wherever you need to go. You can always bring a pillow underneath your forehead or torso if you don't have a block, and maybe the mobility is still there for you. You can bring the palms together and just rest your forehead on your thumbs, or maybe just let it hang. You might be up really high and still getting lots of sensation. So just go as high or as deep as you need today. Right? You don't need to push it. Last couple breaths here. And then slowly, using your hands, press yourself back up to center. Swing that left leg forward. Shake out the legs or a little windshield wiper. And then we'll switch sides. So left shin comes in front, right shin out to the side. Again, if you'd prefer to do pigeon prep, then by all means, sweep that right leg back behind you if you know where you're going. Awesome. Otherwise, stay here with me and then find where you need to go. It could be totally different on this side, right? You might feel more tension in one angle than the other. You might even sort of cross even further over that front thigh. And can you find your breath again, though, wherever you've landed? It tends to be that in these moments of stillness is when we lose our breath, right? Lose the focus. Last couple breaths here. And then slowly press yourself back up. Swing the right leg forward, shake out the legs, and then make your way down onto your back. And I know it's a very similar stretch, but we're going to be moving into a figure 4 stretch here. So cross your right ankle over top of the left thigh. This might be enough for you. You can deepen it by bringing a block underneath the left foot, or you can draw your legs toward you. You could rock a little bit from side to side. Maybe you interlace your hands on the back of that left thigh. But try to find an angle where you can really feel a release through the glutes, through the outer thigh even, right? And that tension that you feel on the outer thigh, you're not releasing necessarily through there. What you are doing though is releasing the muscles that attach to the IT band. Maybe you don't feel it on the other thigh. Maybe this is all at the butt area. Piriformis, glute med, those sorts of muscles. Last breath here. And then slowly release your legs, maybe shake them out a little bit, and then we'll switch sides. So left ankle crosses over top of right thigh again. Maybe you just stay here. Maybe deepen it a little bit. Maybe you draw your legs toward you. You don't even have to use your hands here. Maybe you have a strap, or maybe you use your hands behind the thigh. Right? Find an angle that works for you on this side. You could even play with pressing that left thigh away from you or drawing it toward you and see how that changes the dynamic of the stretch, right? Again, without feeling pain in the knee joint or ankle joint. Last couple breaths here. And slowly, gently unwind, shake out your legs. And then take your knees toward you. This time, take them out toward your shoulders or armpits. You might stay here or kick your feet up to the sky for happy baby. You could grab the backs of the thighs or somewhere along the legs, the ankles, or the feet. We're going to spend a little bit longer here than we normally would because this is a fantastic release for the glutes. It's essentially a squat, but in this position, they're not working, right? You get to just lie down on your back. And it might not feel like a particularly pleasant position. That's fine, but it's a really great one for the glutes and the low back. You could be totally still. You could move a little bit. And then if there's anything else you feel like you need before your rest, posture or meditation or breath work, please feel free to do what you need to do. Otherwise, start to think about where you would like to end, where your final resting pose will be. It could be flat on your back, legs bent or straight in Shavasana. You could rest on your side or in child's pose or a seated meditation. If you're able to scooch up near a wall and bring your legs up the wall, that's a really nice way to release into the lower body as well. And there's no rush to get there. But once you've found your pose of rest for 3 breaths, inhale through your nose. Exhale, sigh your breath away. 2 more. And then let go of your breath control. And return to your natural breath. Try to let go of any last muscle gripping or tension, particularly in the neck or the jaw. With each exhale, let your body melt a little bit deeper into the earth. And take a moment to thank yourself for coming to your practice today, for giving yourself this time to move and to breathe, and for your wonderful body, for moving and breathing for you. Stay here longer if you can, 5 or 10 minutes. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.